All right, we are here. This is Skai Juice coming to you live and direct. We're here with the Art of Living, and the fabulous Tony B is in the house.
I am here. I am here. We have a great show tonight. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube page and share as well.
Share wherever you are. Share, share, share. Tell everybody. Tell your friends. Tell the world.
Please do. Please do. We appreciate all the support.
We're having fun. We're about educating and teaching about the art of living, the art of living well.
That part.
So we have a friend of mine who actually I think I met her through a water fasting group that I was in with, I call him Special K, Christopher, right? I can't remember his last name, but anyway, he's dope. Anyway, I met her through that. And I guess she followed me and saw the junk that I be posting. And she booked a 10-day coconut water fast with me in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And she came down and we did it. And we all also explored Puerto Rico, and it was really fun, and we bonded, and it was really wonderful. I enjoyed her. And Dr. Tursha is a naturopathic doctor who has written books, baby. She's accomplished. So we're going to talk to her about wellness, healing, her latest book, and come up with all the questions, because she's got it. Not only is she a naturopathic doctor, but she also taught in the school as well, I believe. I think I remember that. So
Okay.
here she is.
Let's bring on
Tursha.
Woo! Hi.
Very exciting.
How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you all?
I can't complain. We're here.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I like holistic topics more so than anything else, of course. That's my genre. At least one of them. So, all right. Was I right when I said you taught as well?
Yeah, I taught at 2 of the naturopathic medical schools. I was actually at the 2nd naturopathic medical school when we met.
Okay. Good. And so for folks in the world, because we're worldwide, baby. For folks in the world that don't know what naturopathy even is, can you give them the book definition?
Yeah. So I don't know if I had a book definition, but I'm going to hook up a definition for you. Okay. So naturopathic medicine is basically a system of medicine that utilizes conventional as well as holistic therapies in order to help the body heal. So we, in the naturopathic medical schools, there are actually 6 in the US, 2 in Canada, and 1 in Puerto Rico, that are accredited naturopathic medical schools. And again, in those schools, we learn like the same basic sciences that conventional medical professionals learn, because face it, the body is the body, and we need to know how the body works. We learn pharmacology because in some states we do have prescription rights. And I know most of the people that I know are not anti-medication. We are anti-using medication the way it's being used, because oftentimes medication does not need to be the first line therapy. And so in naturopathic medicine, we try to utilize as much holistic therapies as possible to stimulate the body's natural healing ability, and move the person from illness to wellness. And in a nutshell, that's what naturopathic medicine is.
All right.
Dope. Fantastic. So I actually I came through the back door of naturopathic medicine because the schooling was too much for me. I just couldn't handle it. But it was my mission in life to become a naturopathic doctor my whole life. And when I was in high school, I was looking at Bastyr back in which is like, it's a top naturopathic school, right?
Yeah, it's like the oldest one, I think.
Yeah. So I was looking at Bastyr and I really wanted to do that. And my mom was like, you need something practical, you need to go to school for business. And I'm like, ugh. So anyway, so I started doing food as wellness. So that's kind of how I got into the back door of the building. But anyway, so you've written several books, which I have some pictures of. And I want to show those really quick to y'all. Let's see. How do I do this? Okay. Can you see these?
Nope.
None's coming up yet.
Nothing has gone up yet. Okay.
Yeah, learning on the go.
Here it is. Now you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are Dr. Tursha's books, Take Vacations Daily, the Black Family Healthopedia, the holistic health resource by the naturopathic physicians for the African American community, bestseller on Amazon, Practically Healthy Step-by-Step Guide to Better Health, the Quarantine Kitchen Cookbook, Staying Healthy While Staying Home. That's pretty clever. And there you are. So,
Question.
Yes.
What got you into it? What sparked your interest? What just made that light bulb go in your head and say, you know what, I want to learn something different when it comes to healing of the human body? Like what sparked that fire in you?
So what had happened was,
all right.
So I've always wanted to be a doc ever since, I believe, I was told I was like three years old when I was like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a baby doctor. Didn't even know how to say pediatrician at the time, but that was my goal. And because I said that, and I guess I said it often enough or passionate enough, my parents sort of kept the fire alive in me. And, you know, junior high school, middle school, high school, I did all the health science programs, summer science programs, got my undergrad degree in biology pre-med with a minor in chemistry.
Wow.
I was on a roll.
Okay.
And it was sometime around graduating from undergrad that I decided that I was not going into medicine. I have no idea what it was that made me say, I'm not doing it. But I was like, bah, humbug, I'm not doing it.
The universe
so on a mission,
came in, yeah.
Conspired on my behalf. So I was on a mission to figure out what it was that I wanted to do when I grew up, so to speak. I left New Orleans because I had been in New Orleans all that time. I went to undergrad here and then I left. I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And while I was there, I met a community of people that didn't trust doctors, that they only went to doctors to get a diagnosis and then they went home to heal themselves. And I was like, oh, you can do that? That's kind of dope. And so that was where I actually learned food is medicine, because of course I had never heard that. Coming from New Orleans, it ain't food is medicine, is eat to live. I mean, live to eat, right? Yeah. And so, so I learned about juicing. I learned about fasting. I learned about, you know, the raw foodism and fruitarianism and all of those, and veganism. Like I learned all of those. I learned about herbal medicine. And it was, and once I started learning, I was like, I guess this is the way that I'm supposed to show up in the world. And so I started learning a little bit more and a little bit more. And it was in that time while I was learning those things that someone in that community, and for the life of me, I cannot remember who, said, you should be a naturopathic doctor. And of course I was like, oh, what?
Look up that definition, right?
Right, exactly. And that's what I did. I looked it up. And it was like the light bulb came on and it was like perfect, because what I found was that it incorporated pretty much everything that I had done up until that point in my life. There was the science, there was the conventional medicine that I was on a trajectory to do. There's the holistic medicine, because in my mind, you know, humans have been on Earth for thousands and thousands of years, and conventional medicine has been here, you know, let me just give it some generous time, 152 years. I mean, 150, 200 years.
Yes.
So we have been surviving with holistic medicine. We have been surviving on the earth. We have been living in concert with the earth. And so it incorporated all of that. And up to that point, I had been a teacher, and one of the principles of naturopathic medicine is doctor as teacher. I had been a personal trainer. I had, you know, like, so there were so many things. I had done some research. There's so many things that I had done in my life that I could use all of that within naturopathic medicine. And like I said, it just made sense that I would be able to utilize natural and holistic methods along with having the option to use conventional medicine when necessary, but to be able to know that the body actually can heal if you give it the right conditions.
Yes.
I figured that was what I needed to do. And so that is how I ended up going into naturopathic medicine.
Awesome.
Wow.
So let me ask you a question. Do you take clients? Do you see clients? What's your daily situation?
So right now I do have a few clients, not a whole lot because I'm sort of moving into another area, but I can't give that up completely. Just because there are not a whole lot of us. There's a lot of us, but there's still not a lot of us. And me being in Louisiana, there's a whole lot less of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I am seeing a few clients. It's just not like I'm not trying to go out and advertise and have a full schedule.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So how much? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, how much were you taken aback by when you kind of presented this to people? How people believe so much in just modern medicine versus the natural way? Because I know a lot of people, I should say more older people, kind of resistant to it, and they just believe in taking aspirin and Motrin, whatever they give. So when you came to them with this different way of healing yourself, were you really taken aback by how a lot of people kind of resisted?
No.
Really? Okay.
No, actually, when I started learning, part of it is sometimes I'm very oblivious of what's going on around me.
Okay.
And I think that's a good thing. But like when I first started learning it, my family was very receptive.
Really? Okay.
I didn't get any pushback from them. Now, I don't know what they were doing behind closed doors. They might have been like, I don't know, what's she getting into? Now, this girl always in something. So I don't know. They might have been doing some of that, but there was never any discouragement in that regard. Now, once I actually got into medical school, naturopathic medical school, I don't know if I had an epiphany then or if I knew prior to that, but I sort of knew that change is hard for people and that there's going to be some pushback about it, right? Just changing diet is hard. And you all know that. Sky, I know you know that. Changing your diet is hard. I mean, it's hard for me. Yes. And I have all this knowledge.
Right.
And that's just a small part of it. It's a big part, but that's just one part of it. So I sort of expect a certain level of pushback. It does still shock me sometimes, but that's just because, like this is what you need. Come on, do it. Now, of course, I know that it's hard because it's hard for me.
Yes.
But still, like just being on that other side of it, I don't have to think about my situation and I can look at other people and be like, why not? So
it's hard because we've been programmed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's harder to change your diet than to change your religion.
Man.
Man. Okay, so now the whole COVID thing has happened. What has gone on in regards to like being a professional in this industry and people being sick? What has your position been in terms of like what you've seen and what has been going on around you? And
again, part for me, I'm still a little bit oblivious. When they said shut it down, I said okay, because I'm sort of a quarantiner anyway. Like I'm very much an introvert. So for the first part of lockdown, it didn't really affect me much because that's pretty much how I kind of live through life. Yeah. It wasn't until like the second half of the year I was like, all right, well, I know I don't go out much, but I like being able to go. I like the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and also my business, my health coaching was 100% virtual anyway.
Okay.
And so, nothing changed on that end. I do have a lot of colleagues who did switch from their brick and mortar practices to virtual because we had to, and we needed to offer services for people. So that shift happened within like the medical professional as a whole. But for me, no, not a whole lot changed.
Okay.
Wonderful. So what is your position on the whole COVID vaccine since you are a doctor?
Oh boy. Did you have to ask her that?
Very good question. That's a very good question.
It is actually, it's a fair question. It's a fair question.
All
and
right.
I'll say this. I am neither pro nor anti-vaccine. I don't actively study vaccines. I don't have the mental capacity to do that. Like, my plate is so full with other things that I don't have the energy to take space to learn as much as I want to learn about vaccines. With that being said, I truly believe that there should be more choice and body autonomy, but there should also be education with accurate information.
Yes.
I don't believe that people should be bullied into medical care, whatever that looks like. I am anti-bullying medical care. And there's a lot of bullying that goes on in medicine, unfortunately. But once, like, all of my parental units said that they were getting the vaccine, I was like, do you need me to drive you there? Because, I wanted them to feel safe and comfortable in their decisions. I'm not going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm going to say, let me support your body in holistic healing. Because whether or not you get the vaccine, that doesn't mean that you're if you get the vaccine, it doesn't mean that you're 100% in the clear. If you don't get the vaccine, that doesn't mean you're 100% in the clear. So you still have to do some work underneath that to see if you can help your body be stronger so that you are more resistant to whatever comes near. And so that is the part that I try to play.
So what do you think? What are some things that you recommend for keeping yourself in that area where your immune system is stronger? And like, what are some of the things you recommend?
Well, honestly, everything starts with the basics. Everything starts with the basics. So it's like anytime I'm talking about a topic, I generally mention the same basic things. We got to get more sleep. There's so many people who don't sleep well, especially when you're talking to the hustlers, to the grinders. I sleep when I die. No, baby, you about to die quicker because you need to get some sleep. You cannot be as functional if you're not rested.
They say sleep is the No.
Go to bed, baby. Go to bed. Take a nap.
Yes.
That's really imperative.
Right, and that's one. And drink some water. You dehydrated, you're parched. That's why you can't think straight. Drink some water.
How much do you recommend a day for water?
I would say if somebody is not drinking any, try to start with like a 32-ounce mason jar. Start there. If you're already there, try 2 of those. Right. And start simple. So, we say twice half your body weight in ounces, but for some people that's a lot. So increase it. Don't be thirsty. Right. Don't be dry. Don't be parched.
Right.
But eat some vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Try to eat a vegetable at every meal is my motto. And I'm actually back on that roller coaster right now, trying to eat a vegetable at every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's literally those basic things. I can give some herbs, I can give some supplements that help with the immune system, but it really starts with those basic things. If you're not pooping on a regular basis, go take a dump. Do what you need to do to regulate your digestive system.
That's part of not drinking water too.
Exactly. And if you are retaining a bunch of poop in your system, you're going to feel horrible. Your skin's going to look bad. You're going to be tired. And your immune system is not going to work well. So usually it's those things are always going to be foundational. Now, if you come in doing all of that and you still need some support, then we can get into the nitty-gritty. But until then, everything that we do is contingent upon you doing those basic things.
Got it. We have a question. We have some questions.
All right.
Comments. Jackie is asking, would you recommend spring water over other water?
So that's a great question. I have not taken the time to actually learn different water types. What I will say is that tap water is the bottom of the barrel. So at all costs try to avoid it unless you live in a city where your tap water is more pristine. Otherwise, I would say use any of the filtered waters that you can if you have a choice. My top two choices actually are reverse osmosis water and actually alkaline water. I haven't learned, I haven't studied all the properties of alkaline water, pros or cons. I know that when I drink it, it's easier for me to drink water. It's easier, like it goes down smoother for me. So like those will be my top two. If you're doing a fast, I've learned that distilled water is better when you're fast, like if you're water fasting. But, spring water is a filtered type of water, distilled water, reverse osmosis, alkaline water. All of those are waters that I drink. But right now, my top two are like reverse osmosis and alkaline.
Very cool.
You mentioned about sleep.
Yes.
To you, what would be the proper amount of sleep that everybody should really get?
At least 6 hours.
At least 6 hours.
At least 6 hours.
REM sleep.
Yeah. And so, they say 6 to 8. But if a person is not getting very good sleep anyway, then that 8 hours is going to be tough to try to navigate. So the goal is to create incremental changes that you can actually do. If you're waking up at the middle of the night, if you're having a hard time falling asleep, if you're waking up early, if you're waking, like if any of those are happening, let's do what we can to start to regulate your sleep so that you're not having as hard of a time. And that might mean starting with, again, basic. So sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene basically means making sure the room is as pitch black as you can get it. That might mean buying some blackout curtains, closing, like if you have a clock that has a light, cover it or turn it over. You don't need that light while you sleep. You don't need to know the time when your eyes close, and that light could be affecting your sleep. The little light on the television or on the DVR, even though it's a little pinpoint light, that could be affecting you. So things like that, making sure that the temperature is comfortable, making sure that you're not working in the bed. Your bed should be for sleep and sex only, so that when you get in the bed, your body knows it's time to do one of those two things. And one of those things is going to lead to the other one. So there's that.
I want to add to that list. I want to add to that list some clean white sheets.
Making the bed comfortable. Yeah, make the bed comfortable. You
got to get some good pillows. You know what I mean?
Thread count? What's the thread count?
Exactly.
1,800, baby.
Whatever it takes for you to get quality sleep, start making those changes, because when people don't sleep, we don't realize how much sleep impacts our health.
Yes.
It's when we heal. Sleep is when we heal and when we grow. So those of you who have children, you know that when the children woke up, they were always 2 inches taller after it seemed like every nap. They were 2 inches taller. When you are an adult and you're not growing anymore, that same process is happening, but it's healing as opposed to growing. So if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. If you're not sleeping,
I love that.
You're not strengthening. And when you lack rest, you have problems with anxiety and depression, with memory loss, with lack of energy. You can gain weight. Your blood pressure gets higher. Your blood sugars get higher. Like all of that stuff happens because you need to go to bed.
Do you recommend a vegan diet, or for people that eat meat? Is that something that, I don't know, you don't want to speak against eating meat, but in your view, would eating more like a vegetarian or a vegan type of diet, is that healthier for the body, you would say?
I'll say this. I'm not a vegan, but I do recommend a plant-heavy diet. And for some people, I personally don't believe that everybody's body is designed to only eat meat, but only eat vegetables and fruit. What I do believe is that our bodies are designed to eat primarily, fruit and vegetables. So making fruit and vegetables the center of our plate is the goal. It's always my goal for my plate. That's the goal for the people I work with.
Everyone.
Exactly. And if you need, or if you feel like you need some meat in your diet, then by all means do that, but try to get the cleanest version of it, because we get a lot of the crap that we take in from that.
Yes.
The animals that are mass produced are being fed grains that they're not naturally in. They're in confined quarters. They're, you know what I'm saying, they're
Like they're not supposed to even eat grains like that.
Exactly.
Like cows don't eat grain, they eat grass.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not able to roam around. So that is not healthy meat. Your meat should have like good omega-3s. And we already know that those omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. And we usually go to fish, especially like wild caught salmon, because wild caught salmon is in its natural environment doing what it's supposed to do. Well, if you're going to eat like red meat, bison or lamb or whatever, if they're in their natural environment, that meat is going to be healthier. It's going to have those anti-inflammatory properties. It's going to have those nutrients. It's going to be a better quality. So if you can move toward that, everybody can't afford that. And I get it. But as much as you can move toward those types of things, the healthier you'll be.
Wow. Now, what would you say to a person that says eating healthier like that is more expensive, which, people say it's a myth to a certain extent, especially if you grow your own? Everybody's not able to do that. But do you believe when people say that it's so expensive to eat that healthy, what do you say to those people?
I would say that in a lot of instances, it can be more expensive, but then it also depends on the choices that you make. So there is a learning curve. Anytime you switch from one way of doing to another, there's going to be a learning curve. And in this case, it's a huge learning curve. So
go ahead.
What's that?
No, I want to piggyback off of you.
Okay. So, it's a huge learning curve. For example, right now is blueberry season. So, blueberries should be more inexpensive right now because they're in season and they're plentiful. Now, I just went to a blueberry farm and picked my own blueberries.
Wow.
So much cheaper. And I'm going to pick enough so that I can have some for as long as I can. Put it in the deep freezer and pull it out. And then I've literally spent, a couple dollars for a pound, per pound, whereas less than a pound is like $5, $6, $7, $8 in the store.
Right.
So if we can start doing things like that, even if you can't grow it yourself, there in a lot of places, not everywhere, there are community gardens and larger farms where you can go and get produce. You can go and pick your own produce in some areas. So doing things like that or buying frozen vegetables, especially when they're in season, those types of things help. But it's really expensive to buy products, like those vegan products. That's when you start spending a lot more money. So if you can shift your mindset to whole food, and then your body starts to get adjusted to it. And another thing that happens is you're not as hungry because your cells are actually being fed when you eat nutrient-rich food. So in the beginning, you'll be more hungry because your body's accustomed to getting a certain amount of food. But after you start eating a certain way, your body, you get fiber, you get water, you get nutrients and things that your body doesn't need gets pushed out, and you get healthier. You literally don't need as much food. So it sort of balances out, but then you have that little that area of trial and error where your body is trying to adjust.
I was going to add to that. I think that a lot of people they're comparing like this high quality fruits and vegetables and even vegan products and other things. And what is the comparison? They're comparing it to like Dollar Menu and with very low budget, trash budget foods that are not even on the list. They shouldn't even be the comparison. You shouldn't compare, like they say, apples to like garbage. Like there's no comparison in dollars.
Right.
You should be comparing food to food. And anything on the Dollar Menu is not food. Like that's what people need to realize is you're not there. There's no comparison to like going down to the I don't want to like sound elitist in the food industry, because I know that there's a sounding that I've heard myself of people like, oh, you eat this way, but like Dr. Tursha was saying, you can literally go to like the farmers markets. You can go. Let me tell you what I do. I have a little life hack that I do that I'm so excited. I go to the Asian market mostly, and I get all my produce there. And at the one corner of the market, they have the stuff that's kind of like aging. You know what I mean? Like bruised or what have you. And they put things together. Like they'll put like a few potatoes and some zucchini, and it's kind of like, it's like maybe like a one dish type of thing. Or they'll put some, and the Asian market has produce from all over the world, right? And everything on that table is $1. So it's like $1 for this, and there'd be like some of the tomatoes might have like black spots on it, but you can cut them off. If you cook, you're gonna cut them off, right? So you can eat really healthy. And I buy like 2 or 3 of those bags every time I go. I walk to that table and I get a couple of them, and it's like, shoot. Yo, I just cut it off. I'm used to growing stuff, so you cut the little dark marks off, so that's what I do.
So yeah, it takes some adjusting, but it's possible. You just have to have the mindset that it's important enough where you're going to learn what works for you within your budget, within your time span, and just make those incremental changes.
Now, when we talk about gut health and we talk about having your regular bowel movements, and you hear about people saying, every 2 or 3 days or something like that. Speak to how unhealthy that is and what people really need to try to do to try to be more regular in their bowel movements.
So I was actually one of those people when I was in my 20s. I specifically remember going to the doctor and and being concerned that I was having a bowel movement like every few days. And the doctor told me, oh, that's your normal. And so I was like, oh, okay. And it wasn't until I learned better that I was like, oh, they just setting me up for failure.
All wrong.
So, right. So optimal, absolutely optimal bowel health is you eat something and within 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you're going to the bathroom to make a deposit.
Wow.
That's optimal. So the reason why that happens is because, everything is connected from the rooter to the tutor. And when you put something in your mouth, that stimulates the rest of the digestive system to start moving. And so if you have like your breakfast, the food that you're eating right now here, and the last meal there, and the last meal there, and the last meal there, once you eat this next meal, it should move the next, the food down the pipe a little bit. So whatever was last should be coming out within less than an hour. It should really be like 15 to 30 minutes after your current meal.
Wow.
That's optimal. Most people are not going to do that.
Tafari is here. She's been watching us a couple times, and she says the Asian stores where I go for fruits and veggies, and to me they are better. And then she said, what we don't know is that we have about 7 pounds of crap in our intestines.
Yep. And that's real. And so if we can, so again, that's optimal. But I would say if we can move toward having one hefty bowel movement a day, then, then at least you've gotten it all out. Because the thing is, when I'm explaining bowel health, I say, if you took a steak and some cabbage and something else and put it on your linoleum floors in the summer and just left it there, what's going to happen to the linoleum? And most people know that it's going to start rotting. You're going to start getting, pests. It's going to start stinking. You're going to start getting rodents. And I'm like,
inside
your body is more sensitive than linoleum.
Yeah.
And your body temperature is almost 100 degrees. So if it's sitting there for days, imagine what's happening. So if you can get that in mind and then start, again, eating better, eating more produce, eating more fiber-rich food to help move those things out, then you can start to see your bowels become more regular. And of course, drink some water, and of course, start walking and moving your body more. finding out what your food intolerances are, because that might be slowing down your digestive system. So like there are several different things, but that's the goal, is to have one good hefty bowel movement every single day.
Wow.
So what about, I mean, we could probably go through the whole encyclopedia of ailments and ask what your recommendations are. But what about this book you wrote, the latest one?
So the latest book that I wrote is called The Black Woman's Healthopedia. And it is a collaboration book that I wrote with 6 of my colleagues, dope women in naturopathic medicine. And the idea for the Healthopedia books is that I wanted to be able to provide quality holistic health information from the experts in those areas to the communities that we're writing for. I'm sorry, I have little bugs in front of me and I don't know where they came from. So, I'm fighting the air. But that's what
I figured it was some spirits you had out there since you're out in New Orleans.
I hope not. No, these must be bugs. I don't want to deal with no spirits. I don't that's not what's happening right now. But yeah, so the idea for the Healthopedia series is to pull my colleagues together, let them talk on their areas of expertise, and give the information that the community needs. So the first book in the series was the Black Family Healthopedia that you showed earlier. And now we release, actually just today, we released the ebook, The Black Woman's Healthopedia. And when I tell you, like, I know I'm a little biased, but this book is so dope and so needed. And I think that everyone, male, female, Black, white, or other, needs to read the book. There are some great, huge health disparities within our communities and with our, with women in our community. And a lot of it is out of our control. But what is it that we can control? And that's what we talk about, is let's teach you what it is that you can control. While we're fighting this bigger fight, let's teach you what you can do right in this moment to move you toward health, so that you can have the energy and the vitality and the stamina to actually have that fight.
Do you have a link for where people can order the book?
Yes, it is www.health-o. I'll actually type it for you. health-o-pedia.com.
Okay, I posted it.
And right now that'll link to the Amazon ebook. And by tomorrow it'll link to the pre-order for the physical books. The physical books will be released in the middle of July. So you can go and pre-order those books. We have a book. We have a workbook to help you actually work through those things. We have a notebook. It is so dope. It's so beautiful. Let me show you.
Yeah, show us. We want to see it. Oh wow! And it looks like it's kind of thickish.
It is. This is one of the thickest books I've done. So yeah, it's definitely thick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now you said you had. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tony.
You have a question?
So you said you had several different people that helped you write the book that are in each different, like, what are some of their areas of expertise?
So I'm actually looking at the pictures of the docs on the back of the book. So Dr. Brianna is, she works with fertility and pregnancy and childbirth. Dr. Dorian is like our sex doctor. So she, part of what she does is helps the body balance hormones and have an optimal sexual experience, because that is a part of our human experience and it should be enjoyed and it should be fantastic. And so this is who she is. We have Dr. Keisha Tate, who is the Doc of Health and Wealth. She talks about the connection between finances and health, and she tries to bridge that gap. Wow. Dr. Safia works with fertility, and she's an acupuncturist as well as a naturopathic doctor. So she does a lot of both of those in fertility and childbirth and postpartum. Dr. Tracy is a general practitioner and she's an educator. So she did a lot of educating about the roles of the different organs in the body. Dr. Ayana Kwamina, she is also a general practitioner, but she also has an expertise in like caring for caregivers. And so she talks about, you know, the toll that it takes when we are taking care of everybody else and not us. She actually has experience where several of the women in her life passed away because they were caregivers taking care of someone and not themselves, and they died before the people that they were caring for.
Wow.
So those are some of the expertise that we have in this book.
I will
let me ask you,
we'll be promoting that.
Yes.
Amazing.
I have a question, but I'm gonna ask her question first. She says, when making smoothies, I heard that fruits and vegetables shouldn't be mixed. If this is so, why?
You know, I've actually heard a lot about, when I first started learning about health and nutrition, it was you know, called food combining. I personally couldn't get it down. I couldn't get it down. And it never really sunk in for me. But the idea is that your digestive system releases different types of enzymes at different times and in different spaces within the digestive tract. And because of that, some things are being digested before other things. And so the things that are not being digested, they're just sitting there, just kind of sloshing around in digestive juices, but it's not being affected. What happens to that when it's sloshing around in juices in 100-degree temperature for a while? And so it doesn't, you know, the idea is that they don't mix very well. So you should eat, you know, more according to those food groups that go together, that digest well together.
Wow.
Do you believe that to be true?
I do, to some extent. Again, I haven't really practiced it because for me it was hard. Again, just because I know some things doesn't mean that I don't struggle with it.
I actually wrote an article in on my blog years ago, and I literally get hits on it to this very day. And it was called "The Food Combining Chart is False."
Okay.
And it's basically pseudoscience from what I found out. I'm not saying I don't know. I felt like it's a lot of pseudoscience, but partly there is a part of it that you can possibly. Part of it is if you're eating raw fruits and vegetables, you can mix those because they're not cooked, they're not broken down, right? When they're cooked, like when you have a cooked starch, there's a different chemical component that it now changes into. So yeah, food combining can be kind of technical. It's like a technical thing, but you can't just say fruits and vegetables and starches because if you start cooking things, then it changes its chemical situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then, you know, we talk about fruits and vegetables, but then people put tomatoes and cucumbers in the vegetable category. Those are technically fruit.
They are all the way fruit.
You know what I'm saying? So like
avocado is a fruit.
Exactly.
Zucchini is a fruit.
Exactly. And so you have that. And so like I said, that it got to be too much for me. So I didn't study it anymore because I figured I'd put my
peppers,
elsewhere.
Those are all fruits.
All of those are fruit. Yep. Peppers, eggplant, all of those are fruit.
Yeah.
Now, when you say, because you say yourself, it's a struggle, because it's a struggle for all of us to eat more healthy, because we grew up eating this great food that we were told was great. So if a person came to you and they wanted to make that transition into eating healthier and eating stuff that's going to be better for their body, what suggestion would you give them to kind of start on that path and not get discouraged? They say, oh, I just want a donut, or I just want a piece of pizza, or a big steak or something. What would you tell them how to ease themselves into that?
The first thing I would say is instead of taking things away, add some things. So try a new vegetable once a month. You know, try it 3 different times if you can. Cook it where it's just that vegetable, maybe sauteed lightly, see how it tastes. Don't overcook it. I'm from the South. I know we cook stuff to hell, and it's, you know, it's brown, it's limp.
Got to be well done.
You know, so you gotta, first of all, let's learn how not to do that.
Right.
But try something new regularly. And get the family involved in that, you know, in that experimentation.
Not put sugar
Don't put sugar on it.
On anything. Like, don't put sugar, like candied carrots. That was a new thing for me.
I mean, it's delicious.
But let's talk about the
okay, but here's the thing about the whole naturopathic doctor thing that I think is the number one issue, because insurance is what guides people to go to a doctor or not. So they get a job and then they get the little plan or what have you. And so their plan covers yada, 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 or this doctor, that doctor. So the naturopathic doctors are not on the list, because I'm sure if they were, most people would choose them. I think more people would choose them. More, definitely. More.
So it depends on the state that you live in. So every state is not licensed. Every state does not recognize naturopathic doctors. When I was in Arizona, I was considered a primary care doctor. I had full-fledged prescription rights and all of those things. And insurance companies did cover naturopathic visits. Not all insurance companies, but many did. And not all naturopathic doctors accepted insurance, but many did. So it really depends on where you are, and then will the doctor take it. The problem with insurance companies, the reason why I wasn't very keen on being listed in insurance, is because in my mind, the downfall of medicine as a whole is because of businessmen coming in and regulating what they do. Most of the doctors, the conventional doctors that I know, they don't like the fact that their hands are tied. When a patient comes in, they have to follow a certain script with a person. They only have a couple of minutes with their patients. They don't like that because their passion is actually helping the body heal, helping their patients heal. And from what I can see, a big part of that is because, again, businessmen who don't know medicine, they just know numbers and money, have looked at some numbers and crunched some things and eventually squeezed them into this box where they had to follow these scripts. And so, I didn't want that for my practice. I don't want them to tell me that, what my worth is. And so, there's that. But yes, you will definitely have more people that do naturopathic visits if there were, if it was more accessible.
So it seems like that struggle with big pharma, and they're wanting to come in and be in your business and push these products and these medicines on these people. And you're saying, no, this is not the way I want to go. This is the way I want to go. So yeah, I totally get that.
I definitely see that as being, so if someone wanted to go see a naturopathic doctor, they just get a referral or go to one and basically pay out of pocket. Yeah.
Pretty much. You would, I'd say, contact the doctor, see what their fees are, and then, do like you do for any other major purchase that's important for you. It's not for most people. For most people, if it's something that they really want, they'll figure out a way to make it happen. And again, it's not easy. It's not easy. But, if you wanted that car, you're going to figure it out. If you wanted that, that outfit, you're going to figure it out. So prioritizing some things, putting some money aside, making sure, making some arrangements, and it can happen.
I don't really see most people as being conscious that way. I really feel like most people really don't put the effort into their health and wellness like that. If it's free,
haven't been trained to. We've been trained to rely on, these medicines. Something wrong, you just go to the doctor, they're going to give you a pill, it's going to fix it. So we have to reprogram ourselves and reprogram society as itself to think.
I work in an environment where nobody really believes none of the stuff I talk about. They are like, sure, that's cool. Yeah, you go drink your little juice there, and
you're gonna go have a burger.
I'm going to take these pills on my lunch break because it's time, it's time for me to take my next set of pills before I die. And I'm just like,
yeah, it is. It's a huge mindset shift. And so usually whenever I am teaching, whenever I write a book, I always start with the mindset piece, because that is the most important piece that you have to have. It's going to get you started and it's going to maintain you. You have to have that mindset shifted, and you have to have some things in place to help keep you on the road to where you want to go when, not if, but when you kind of falter, because we all do. We all question why we're doing it. We all question why I'm not eating the donut, because this is hard. I don't like it. I'm hungry. Oh, and to your question earlier, Tony, about food, the other thing that I would say is if you start eating more healthy, eat enough food.
Yeah.
People tend to, I'm gonna eat a salad, and they get this tiny little plate with this trash salad. No, get you a big ass salad. That's how I tell my clients. I was like, no, don't get a salad.
Well, yeah, because they've been used to eating 2,000 calories a day in heavy starch and grease. And then they're like, well, I'm gonna become a vegan today, and I'm gonna
eat a thimble of salad.
And they're eating, and then they go from like 2,500 calories down to 500, and like, it wasn't working for me.
And they wonder why they're lightheaded.
I was I wasn't feeling strong, and I was like, you weren't eating
enough. So if you eat enough food, it's okay. And then, people think that like eating plant heavy or even eating vegan is eating rabbit food and eating salads all the time. No, people make a lot of dishes that are all vegetable. Like most of us eat vegetables without meat in it. We just don't think of it that way. And so if we can just eat more of those hearty dishes that are all vegetables or that are primarily vegetables, you won't even know it. There was one guy, a friend of mine, who he had moved to Arizona. And when he came to Arizona, I was like, I'm going to cook a vegan meal for you. And he was like, okay. But after he ate it, he was shocked. He was like, I'm full. That was healthy. It was hefty. It was delicious. I know, because I use seasoning.
Now, let me ask you, with the sudden surge of popularity of things like sea moss and black seed oil and stuff like that, are those things you recommend for your clients as well?
I don't typically recommend them, but if somebody is looking at them, I'll say go for it. Mm-hmm. My idea is I'd much rather you start on your journey with one of those type products and use those as you're learning more and as you continue to shift. If that is your gateway into health, then use it, because sea moss is beneficial. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it has the 92 minerals of the 102. I haven't done any, I hadn't sent it to a lab for analysis. Yeah. But it's a sea vegetable. So it definitely has minerals, right? That's good for people. And if you're going to use that to start getting in more vegetables and more nutrients from the sea, go for it. Absolutely. I know that black seed oil helps the immune system. Do that. Just don't stop there. Start after you get accustomed to that, start learning other things about nutrition and health and supplements and herbs and stuff.
Because people out here drinking sea moss with the 25-piece wing special with lemon pepper, because that makes it better. You know what I'm saying?
and then have the nerve to pray, bless this food. No.
Right. So here's the question. What foods, because I believe it all goes back to the food. Mm-hmm. What foods should people just not eat, period? Like get it off. Not occasionally. I'm not talking about, it's okay to eat some this or that, have a slice. But what foods would you say people should just really not, like, take it off the planet?
I think I know what she's going to say.
Is that too challenging?
No, it's not. And I'm gonna say this, and with the understanding that it's still hard. Like, even though I moved back to New Orleans and gained my welcome back 20. So just know that we be struggling. Yeah. I gained my welcome back 20. Fried foods need to go away. Sugar needs to go away. If we can get rid of those two,
soda.
Flour.
That was about to be number 3. That was about to be number 3.
Flour.
I have a problem with wheat and gluten. But I would say let that be further down the line. If we can get rid of fried food, sugar, and sodas, we'd be doing huge.
Wow.
Huge.
Yeah. And I like that you're honest about how, even though you preach this, you won't make it seem like it's easy. It is a struggle.
Oh, hell no.
You know what I mean? Because some people will be like, well, it's easy for you to do it. No, it's not. I have, you know, and that honesty probably helps them say, okay, so she has a struggle with it, so it's natural for me. It sounds right that I'm struggling with it too, trying to get better with my eating and cutting certain things out. So
yeah,
it's good that you admit to that, and people, I'm normal. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with me. It's not something I can just do overnight.
right. And you know, it's part of moving into a space of better health is creating a community around that.
Yes.
I was actually just talking to one of my colleagues today, and we were like, all right, look, we're gonna do better. All right, you gonna do better. Yep, I'm gonna do better too. All right, we're gonna start exercising, we're gonna start and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take the herbs that we supposed to take. And so, you know, we decided to be each other's accountability partner. Even as naturopathic physicians, we needed each other to bring us back to the place that we have other people go to. Yes. So, you know, get yourself a community. That could be one person, that can be several. And you might have to have different communities in different areas. You might have to have that small community of people who are trying to eat better. Mm-hmm. Then hang with them for your meals. And then you have that community of people who are trying to, you know, walk and exercise and dance more. Hang with them for that. And then you might have your community of people who sing and dance and meditate. Hang with them for that. And then, you know, pick and choose what days of the week you go and hang out with all these people. But then they can encourage you and support you when you don't feel like doing it. They can encourage you and support you when, you know, things go well and you want to celebrate. You used to celebrate with pizza. No. We're about to celebrate with this, you know, big, beautiful, you know, and help you shift your mindset around it. Or we're going to celebrate by dancing instead of eating sausage and you know, whatever we're going to eat. Right. So it's important to have those communities set in place so that you can have that support, so that it can become more of a habit even without them.
Absolutely.
So like-minded accountability.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, this was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with this.
I knew it.
You knew it?
I knew it. I knew it was I'm gonna love this interview.
This is definitely, we should do this again and come back and we could talk about maybe a specific topic or like some sort of.
You let me know. You know I love doing this.
Okay.
You know I got
Let's go through the books. Let's go through the books. Let's go through the books.
Oh, and I got several. So I'll tell you, we were talking about my friends today were like, how many books is that? Is that number 8, number 9? I have like 7 or 8 books, but if you count the coloring books, because I did some adult coloring books and some children's coloring books and some notebooks, yeah, I'm pushing like 18, 19, 20.
Yay, that's cool. That is cool. I'll post up. You have your own personal website too, right? So that's
drtursha.com. drtursha.com. And on all the social medias, I'm at Dr. Tursha. So again, that's drtursha.
Wonderful. All righty then. So we will connect with you. And if you'd like, I can get you these broadcasts so you can post them on your. Yeah. Oh, there's the book. Yes. I want to order a hard copy for sure.
I got you. I just wanted to make sure that people saw it again so you get excited about it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Then one last thing. When you all get the ebook, so please go get the ebook because we're still trying to be, you know, bestseller in all the categories. Go ahead and get the ebook. And then once you read it, please review the book on Amazon because that is what's going to help drive more people to get the information. And for us, it's not necessarily about, you know, the sales. It's not about, I mean, bestseller is awesome. It's cool to be able to say it. But our goal is to get this information out to the people. And the more you speak about it, the more likely it is to get to the communities that need it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Tursha. I enjoyed that tremendously.
Yes.
Have a good evening. Peace out.